All right. Good morning, everyone. We got a special guest with us here. We're going to start at the. I invited him on because I just noticed TFFP. How you doing, Dan? By the way, good morning.
Doing well. Thanks for having me, Ben.
Awesome. So yeah, I invited him on because I noticed TFFP broke the 20 DMA. You can see it there. Let me make that a bigger screen. There we go. It broke the 20 DMA recently, making a move to the 50. And I think they had earnings recently. And then I noticed Dan say some positive things on social media about it. So, Dan, why don't you let us know what's new with TFFP?
Sure, my pleasure. So, like I said, thanks for having me on. Yeah. So, what's new with TFF is the newest thing is insider buying. Um, we had after earnings last week, earlier this week, we had, I believe it's two directors plus plus the CEO and CFO all were in the market buying stock, and the chairman
Wow. When did that happen exactly?
Monday and Tuesday
Of this week?
of this week. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's nice. Okay.
So yeah, and you saw I forget the numbers, like 130,000 total shares. So almost $600,000-700,000 worth of stock. So a significant amount.
Nice. And they did that right after the earnings report?
Yeah, they did a 3-day hold after earnings, and then the window opened. So the window opened Monday, and that's when they were active, Monday and Tuesday.
Nice. Okay. So what's your view? I'm always looking for inflection points in companies and in stocks. Sometimes it's not the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Depending on the technicals and other things. But let's ask from a fundamental point of view, the company. Do you think we've hit an inflection point yet? And if we haven't, what catalysts are kind of remaining so that we know we've got to an inflection point in the company?
Yeah, I mean, the inflection point for this company, quite frankly, will be a signed partnership that pays them upfront money and has defined milestones, and someone can look and point a finger at this drug is going to be in humans, FDA approved in the future, and TFF is going to make a lot of money off of it. We've had some signed partnerships, but they were like early stage. They weren't put together completely yet. And we've also had a large number of companies looking at the technology. And to remind you, it's a drug delivery platform technology. So a lot of large pharma looking at it, but it's been a lot of tire kicking so far. So why is the catalysts are coming up very soon? And so if I could take a step back, last year we were promised 2 partnerships by the CEO. Those did not materialize. That and then the biotech sell-off contributed to TFF having a particularly bad year last year. But over the next few months now, and I'd say it could be June, or it could be as late as, say, October. I think we'll see the catalyst that is the inflection point and change of the stock. And so why is that happening? They have some internal programs where they're developing drugs that they're going to take out to partners, and they also have partnering activity on like a Pfizer or Merck's drugs where they are looking at the TFF technology. The external programs have been the ones that they have not been able to get over the finish line yet. I have, frankly, had the concern about those all along, in the sense that it's a drug delivery platform. So how much are you going to pay for this? And it's quite expensive technology in terms of their licensing deals. So Pfizer is going to look at this and say, we're going to check every other option before we say TFF's the only way we can go, because it's not cheap, and they would rather inject a drug than have it inhaled and save money on it, right? So I believe those major pharma partnerships are coming. I just think they're slow in developing from the sense that they're kind of icing on the cake of a drug. They're not essential. They're just nice value adds. And until they can prove they're essential, Pfizer's not going to pay them. But that being said, does that make sense? But on the internal programs, and this is where it's very exciting, they control the development of these. They control the timeline, and those programs, there's 3 of them right now that are coming. One just released phase 1 data, and 2 other ones, which are really big, they're all big opportunities, are in phase 2 now, and we'll have data out in September. And all 3 could be licensed this year. And so it's the others, the shoes on the other foot here. These are programs that they control, and the data is excellent. And somebody else will say, gosh, I'd really like to take that data, that drug, and run with it. And so while they've had trouble getting an external program over the finish line, and there's a good chance they will do so, so don't get me wrong, it's just taken longer. The timeline on the internal programs, they control, and I believe we're going to see the catalyst very soon there.
Okay, and what is their cash runway? Or what's their cash runway? Like
So
when do these catalysts by?
they have just over, in the last quarter's announcement, just over a year's cash. So, I'd say right about this time next year, they'll hit the brick wall. So they need to raise money before then.
Right.
That said, any one of these deals being signed will provide not only probably 7 figures upfront cash, but also such validation to the platform that the cash situation will not be an issue if they get a deal signed.
Right. Okay. I get it. So it is a little bit speculative still, right? The deals are not guaranteed, and
Right.
if they're delayed, there's a chance they have to hit the public markets before they
That
get
has
signed.
been the biggest negative out there on the company, is that if the deals don't get done, there's going to need to be a down round, right?
Right.
So
Okay. Well, in the meantime, we can see at least technically there's been a bounce here. I don't know if you look at the technicals, but it broke the 20 DMA. I like to look at the big moving averages, the 20, 50, 200. So it seems to have some momentum behind this back with RSI rising. Maybe it can make a move to the 50 DMA. I don't know what happens after that. But appreciate that background info. That was some big insider buying. So maybe they know the deal is going to get signed in a
right.
couple months.
I tried to give all the caveats and make you understand how we got to this position. So just the elevator pitch and why you want to own it is their niclosamide program. Someone has already signed an option to acquire that. That they have approximately, call it 30 to 40 days. We don't know the exact date in which they have to exercise that option, or TFF can then go out and find a different partner. The data on that has been outstanding. It's a COVID play, but it's also an RSV play. There's multiple uses for that drug. It's an inhaled version of a generic. The inhaled version they create is multiple times more powerful, and yet you can therefore give them less, so the side effects are greatly reduced, and that's the whole promise of their platform. So that could be the catalyst in June, right? And then there are other 2 programs. They've already created data rooms. There are potential partners in the data rooms. So that's the voriconazole and tacrolimus programs. They'll have the phase 2 results out in Q3, call it end of August. And
so there's really a possibility something happens, that because it's already May 20th.
yeah,
So you're talking about June, July, August. That all of that is within a time frame. Things can happen before they have to raise money.
well before then. And so then you've got those 3 potential catalysts, all partnering activities that would, any one of them is a game changer for them. And then you've got major insider endorsement, which makes one think that the programs are going very well, and all the data suggests it's going very well. So, that's what I like about it right now, is you have defined catalysts coming, and you've got insiders buying aggressively in front of them. So
Awesome. All right, Dan, thank you for your time. Tell us, remind us again, where can people find you if they want more in-depth information on TFFP and other, you focus on biotechs, right?
I focus on growth. So I have tech and biotech.
Okay.
It's microcap growth, and it's TW, which is short for Tailwinds, twresearchgroup.com. And I have a weekly newsletter that's free. It comes out every Sunday. And I've also been negative on the market for quite a while and kind of nailed that. So So my readers, despite the fact that my stocks are down, aren't mad at me so much.
Right. Thanks. Oh, we got to talk about that sometime. I've been very negative on the market too since November. I actually had my show yesterday was all about macro outlook. And even though we're down so much, I'm like even more negative now. I don't know if you think things are going to flip soon, but
Well, my last newsletter last weekend said it's still the early innings, and what I meant is in terms of the correction that's taking place out there. So I think we have a long ways to go.
yep, I agree with
Wise,
you.
I'm not sure how much lower, and my group's so beat up, I'm comfortable owning them, but it's
Yeah.
it's for the big overall market, it's pretty ugly environment.
Yep, I agree. All right, Dan, have a great day. Thanks for
And
joining
thank
us.
you.
All right. All right, everyone. So let's get started with our pre-market prep. Great update on TFFP. We're gonna have to move fast because we're running a little late. So you can see now the Nasdaq is up 1.2%. SPY's up 1%. I gave you my thesis yesterday. This doesn't change anything for me. I did warn yesterday, do not try to play this with SQ leverage short ETFs like SQQQ or put options. It's just extremely hard unless you're a ninja and you're intraday trading or whatnot, right? I'm only playing this with single leverage short NASDAQ PSQ. That's what I have in my IRA. And I gave the caveat yesterday. We could go up first before we go down. We can have short squeezes. For God's sakes, look at this short squeeze. It went through 20, 50, and even temporarily broke the 200 DMA. Who knows? That could happen here. But I have a lot of conviction in the macro factors, and I'm not going to change my mind until when those macro factors change. Now, overnight, China reduced one of their interest rates a little bit, and that's when futures popped. Okay, overnight. So I talked about like the big geopolitical factors of inflation and supply chain issues out of China and the relationship with China, like a deglobalization risk. And I talked about what's going on in Russia and Ukraine. And one of those factors, in my view, would have to change in order to really turn around the fundamentals and the narrative of the market. So that's what I'm looking at. But I guess uh, if the Fed, decides not to increase interest rates anymore or decrease them, that'll be bullish, and that's why the market's up overnight. That's the catalyst because the bulls are thinking, oh, if China did it, China reduced interest rates, then maybe the U.S. will do it too at some point, and that's given bulls a little bit hope, and that's the story behind the trade of the macro indices this morning on QQQ, SPY, ARK, and Apple. You can see it all. Apple also has some reports out there that they're increasing production for increased demand. Honestly, I don't believe it. If it's true, maybe that's part of their business, and I don't even know if it's true. I'm a very big skeptic on Apple in the coming couple quarters. Okay, I wanted to talk about gold real quick because I used to be super bullish on this. You guys remember I used to talk about it every day, and I've been really silent about it since I got out. It had a technical breakdown. But remember, we're story trading. We look at multiple pillars. It's really the fundamentals is why I got out because I did a lot of research around gold, and I discovered that what moves gold is negative real yields. But I looked at lots of charts and lots of different theses and articles about what moves gold, and the one which I thought had the most correlation was not just if yields are negative, but the direction of yields. If yields are going more negative, gold's a great buy. If yields are getting less negative or going towards positive, gold is not a good buy. And since the Fed started raising interest rates and being very hawkish on their comments, to me, that's not a great fundamental backdrop for gold. But the reason I'm bringing it up is because today. So technically, at least, that's important. Um, is this a sign of some, fundamentals in the future? Are investors looking forward and thinking, yields are going to start getting more negative again if the Fed stops raising interest rates or if inflation accelerates again? Is there a fundamental reason here, or is it just oversold and it's a technical bounce? I don't know, but the 200 DMA is significant. So you can take a look at that. I'm not trading it. Okay. All right. Two major themes I want to cover this morning. One, I touched on it yesterday, but there's follow through. It's SQM is a lithium miner. Um, had great earnings yesterday. You can see this chart is explosive, and they had an upgrade to $121 price target this morning by Citigroup. So that's a tailwind for the entire lithium sector, okay, which includes LTHM, LAC, LLKKF, LICF. You can look at all these. There's a differentiation between SQM's like really printing money right now, whereas some of these other names, especially maybe LTHM is also producing now and printing money, but these other ones are more in the production phase, in the capex phase, and still spending money. That's why their stocks are lower and not reacting as well to SQM as some of the others, right? Actually, I'm not sure where LLKKF is in the cycle. I reached out to Tony, who's familiar with it. There's an Australian miner that wants to uplist to NASDAQ. It's down 50% from the highs. But this whole sector is having follow through this morning, and it's worth a look at. The other sector, let me get back to the stocks in just a second and jump down to cybersecurity. Now, look, at StoryTrading, we trade stocks that we know because we need to understand the fundamentals, the sentiment, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not doing stock screeners, right? Looking at what's moving today and randomly trading in stocks. We don't randomly trade in stocks because of technicals or because of headlines, right? We need a holistic, full understanding. So I've had these cybersecurity names on my watch list. Why? Because of the new FANGs, because of this sentiment and the fundamental tailwind of the new FANG names, which are fuels, agriculture, aerospace, uh, nuclear, and golden minerals. Where does cybersecurity fall in? In my opinion, aerospace. Might as well call it aerospace and defense or aerospace and cybersecurity. Okay, that's part of it. That's why it's on my watch list. So when PANW comes out with a big earnings beat and raising guidance, that's something that the sentiment is behind that as well. There's a very positive sentiment that this sector has legs because of the geopolitical issues in the world. Okay, so people are going to buy into that. They're going to believe that. They're going to believe these earnings are sustainable. So perhaps this is a good sector to either trade today or add to your long-term positions because of this catalyst, which maybe could be an inflection point, cause an inflection point in some of these charts. So what names do we have? We had Crowdsource, CRWD, ZS. These are some microcap names to look at. BBAI, which I don't know why it moved so much yesterday, but I believe that's someone said there's a gamma squeeze potential on this. These are like things you might want to trade. CYRN. Then you have an ETF, CIBR, CISO. All of these are interesting if, again, either you want to trade them or maybe decide that this catalyst was important enough by PANW, Palo Alto, so that you want to maybe add some or increase your position in your longer term portfolio. Okay. So take a look at those. Other things I want to look at, just a quick reminder, Apple's still below this key resistance level. This is a 50-week moving average. So kind of like in a negative trend. Okay, I still think this is going to 115. All right, we'll see. All right, now individual stocks. I just want to mention yesterday, StoryTrading had an article come out thanks to Chris Tarber. You can see it right at the top of the news feeds. Government infrastructure bills drive high growth expectations for CLFD. You can check out this StoryTrading article over here and make your own decision if you're interested in that stock. Also, SMSI had a StoryTrading article, which doesn't show up on this feed for some reason, but apparently it's everywhere else. So you can take a look. That's why we had some relative strength up here, apparently. And it's been showing support here in the 250 a long time now, that it's no longer kind of going down with indices. So maybe this has found the bottom, something to look at. All right. I want to give a shout out to Twitter. What's going on here? I did call out a possible technical reversal. Was it yesterday? A couple days ago? I forgot where it was. What did I see here? 5. Let's hold on. Let's see what's going on here. I'm on the 1 day. Oh, I think I remember what I saw. I said, here, it was this. This was the green candle. I said, okay, after red, we finally had a green candle on May 17th. And I said, hey, that could maybe there's a technical bottom in here. It's been kind of stable since then. But the reason I'm bringing it up is because Twitter executives came out yesterday and said the deal is still happening. at the same terms. There's no pause, etc., etc. Now, a lot of people don't believe them, but maybe between that technical indicator I showed and these comments from sorry about that. And these, let me put ourselves on do not disturb here. So between that and the comments we got from executives, perhaps this marks an inflection point in the stock for now. But it's risky. Okay, we don't know what's going to happen with that deal. And I lost my watch list. All right. This is not my real money account. This is just $50 someone gave me once for recommending the app. It's up 10 times so far. All right. What happened to my list? What happened to our list? Sorry for the technical snafu. All right. Okay, Russia. So, Twitter. Okay. Kodak, DRIO, we're just monitoring that. No significant news on either of those this morning. I'm thinking we might be able to see some continuation in DRIO. It's been strong, only a minor pullback after that massive run, and it bounced off the 50 DMA almost, pretty much, but there's still a chance to retest it at like 590 to 6. Okay, so careful with that. And I think that's all I have, running a little bit late. So we're going to be jumping on Twitter Spaces now with options trading with Vegas, if you're interested in that this morning. And take a look at XSPA. Boost buyback by 10 million shares. Maybe something to look at as well. This is basically trading at cash, this company. Okay. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us and have a great day.